Breaking news. U.S. President Donald Trump has announced a new increase in global import tariffs. On February 21st, 2026, Trump posted on Truth Social that the recently imposed 10% tariff on imports will now rise to 15%. The increase takes effect immediately or beginning February 24th. This announcement comes just one day after the U.S. Supreme Court issued a 6-3 ruling striking down his previous broad tariffs. The court determined that Trump exceeded his authority by using the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977 to impose those tariffs. In response, the president is now invoking Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974, a rarely used law that allows temporary import surcharges to address balance of payments problems, including the growing U.S. trade deficit, which recently reached a record $1.2 trillion. Under this provision, the tariffs can remain in place for up to 150 days unless Congress approves an extension. The new policy includes exemptions for critical minerals, metals, pharmaceuticals, and certain goods covered by existing trade agreements. Meanwhile, separate tariffs on steel, aluminum, automobiles, and other sectors remain unchanged. President Trump sharply criticized the Supreme Court's ruling, calling it ridiculous, poorly written, and extraordinarily anti-American.
Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country.
Trump says the higher tariffs are essential to revive American manufacturing, reduce trade imbalances, and potentially fund domestic priorities such as debt reduction or taxpayer dividends. The previous tariffs collected more than $130 billion since last year. However, economic studies indicate that roughly 90% of those costs were ultimately paid by U.S. businesses and consumers rather than foreign exporters. This marks a significant escalation in U.S. trade policy, with potential economic and political consequences in the weeks ahead.